Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome to 30 Albums for 30 Years, 1964 through 1994. I am your host, Jay Sweet. Today's album is the Yardbirds, Roger the Engineer, released July 15th of 1966 and recorded between April through June of 1966. It was released on Epic Records. Let's get into it. The Yardbirds, Roger the Engineer. All right, so we have already discussed the Yardbirds in season number 2, 1965, with the album Have a Rave Up with the Yardbirds. So today I'm just going to give you a brief history of the group. The Yardbirds are a seminal English rock band formed in the early 1960s and are celebrated for their pioneering sound, influential guitarists, and significant impact on the trajectory of rock and roll music. The group originated in London in 1963, and the Yardbirds quickly gained renown for their dynamic live performances and their fusion of blues and R&B elements. Initially composed of Keith Relf on vocals, Paul Samwell Smith on bass, Jim McCarty on drums, Chris Dreja on guitar, rhythm guitar, and Anthony Topham on lead guitar. But it was really the addition of Eric Clapton in 1963 that solidified their reputation. With Clapton at the forefront, the Yardbirds surged in popularity within the British blues circuit, delivering hits like Shape of Things, Heart Full of Soul, and For Your Love. However, Clapton's departure in 1965 was far from a setback. In fact, it paved the way for another fantastic guitarist, Jeff Beck. And Beck's arrival ushered in a period of experimentation and a further incorporation of elements of psychedelic and avant-garde music. This transition showcased the band's resilience and adaptability, inspiring many others to follow suit within the music industry. Following Beck's departure in 1966, the Yardbirds recruited Jimmy Page as their new guitarist, and ultimately, the band's transformation led to the formation of Led Zeppelin. So today's album is called Roger the Engineer, and it is also known as Over, Under, Sideways, Down in the United States. So Roger the Engineer in the UK, Over, Under, Sideways, Down in the US. And it is the third studio album by the Yardbirds. The album was released in 1966, as you know, and it marked a significant transition for the group as the first album consisting entirely of original material, and the debut of guitarist Jeff Beck as a full-time member. It is also the only Yardbirds album to appear in the UK albums chart, where it reached number 20. In the US, it reached number 52 on the Billboard charts, making it the band's highest charting studio album in the US. It did better in Finland, where it reached number 8. So following the release of Roger the Engineer in 1966, the Yardbirds embarked on yet another transition period marked by significant lineup changes. With the departure of guitarist Jeff Beck now, the band recruited Jimmy Page, who would later become instrumental in developing Led Zeppelin's iconic sound. I mean, think of it, one band with 3 iconic guitarists, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and then Jimmy Page. The new lineup with Page experimented with heavier blues-influenced rock and laying the groundwork really for the sound that would become Led Zeppelin's signature sound. However, with the Yardbirds, internal tensions and struggles with commercial success led to the eventual dissolution of the Yardbirds in 1968. Jimmy Page and Chris Dreja briefly attempted to continue the band's legacy as the new Yardbirds, but ultimately Page went on to form Led Zeppelin. And at that time, other members pursued solo careers or joined different musical projects. Despite their relatively short tenure, the Yardbirds left a significant mark, though, on the history of rock and roll. All right, my friends, there you have it. That is today's program. I hope you enjoyed it. Please continue to listen. Please subscribe. Check out the website, 30albumsfor30years.com. And check out the other podcast, the Jazz Real Book. Anyway, together, let's keep this wonderful music alive. Have a wonderful day and peace. Speak to you soon.